as they're also going to be paying Russell Wilson here coming up pretty soon.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So, anything closing on Percy?
Former Viking, I wish him the best. I have no hard feelings, hopefully this is kind of an eye-opener of, hey, maybe let's work on, having good attitude and stuff when, playing football.
Why can't he just be happy?
I don't know.
Seattle is the biggest kumbaya, rah, let's all love each other type of locker room and culture with Pete Carroll up there and goody two-shoe Boy Scout Russell Wilson. I don't mean that in a derogatory fashion either, but Percy, just come on, man. You won a friggin' Super Bowl. And basically, out of this entire trade, Seattle got one kickoff return for a touchdown in the Super Bowl that they didn't even need.
People need it. A change can typically be a good thing. This might be the best thing on both teams' ends. We won't know until we see him play. Is he playing on Sunday?
I believe so. I don't see any reason why not. I was kind of happy, and I do feel kind of bad because Tyler, the guy I played in fantasy this week in our league that we'll get to a little later, he had Percy in his lineup. He assumed that Percy was going to play Sunday for the Seahawks. Not so much. And Percy was traded Friday after the Jets already played on Thursday, so he wasn't getting any run there. Probably wasn't anyways. And he got a big old goose egg, but probably didn't matter since I beat him down by 29.
What?
Ronnie Hillman. Peyton Manning breaks Bert Favres. Favors. Which one is it?
The third one.
Favors. Bert Favors' career touchdown record of 508 touchdown passes with 4 TDs in the 42-17 route of the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football, where Ronnie Hillman scored 2 touchdowns, by the way. Just putting that out there as I'm a fantasy team. Manning broke the record on an 8-yard strike to Demaryius Thomas in the front right corner of the end zone in the second quarter. Very cool moment. Excited that he could get the record, and it does make sense as Manning is the best regular season quarterback in the history of the NFL, right up there with Brett Lorenzo Favre. And just really big stat compilers. Each won 1 Super Bowl, made appearance in Peyton's appeared in 2 others. Brett appeared in 1 other and lost to the Broncos. And yeah, it makes sense. They're kind of 2 peas in the pod.
It's because Peyton Manning isn't just a great quarterback. He's a great leader. He's incredible. He knows how to. He runs that front, the offense. They get him. Whether he was with what team did he play with? The Colts or with the Broncos. I mean, he's phenomenal. He knows how to take control of the team.
Yeah, and I guess the thing that Peyton has on Brett Favre is that he doesn't have as many career interceptions as Favre, who also had. I think Favre's interception record is going to stand for a while.
I don't know, man. A lot of quarterbacks out there that like to throw picks every once in a while.
Now, they did have a very cool moment right after Thomas scored the touchdown. The wide receivers, Welker, Demaryius, Julius Thomas, the new kid. Gosh, I forgot his name. The kid who came over from Pittsburgh. Why am I blanking on the name? Anyways, him. They were playing keep away with the record touchdown ball, and they're like, oh, this is a very cool, spontaneous moment that the Broncos are putting together. And no. Apparently it was contrived practice, touchdown dance, choreographed even, and it just kind of ruined the moment for me.
Oh, come on.
Emmanuel Sanders. Sanders.
Yes, I forgot he went there. Well, I mean, like, this had to be planned. There's some nerd analysts who probably alerted the team years ago, like, weeks ago, they're like,
no, it was all Peyton, since Peyton is this massive control freak, and they're probably going to use it on some sort of Gatorade, Papa Murphy's nationwide commercial, and they'll be like, oh, yes, here we are again, another Peyton Manning commercial.
I do love Papa Murphy's. Just point that out there.
Papa Murphy's, I like pizza.
I don't know. I mean, you knew right away. Like, everyone had to have been told, dude, if you get a touchdown by me, do not throw the ball to the field. Don't give it to a fan or anything. You got to keep it because they're probably going to make money off of it. Or I think what they say, I think they're going to put it in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, they're obviously going to keep the ball, but the whole pre-planning and premeditation of the keep away, cutesy for the television cameras, and that kind of bugged me a little bit. And plus, I wouldn't even put it past Peyton to be like, all right, so like you said, like he got a statistician like a year out and be like, all right, so if I do this and this and this, I can break it in primetime Sunday Night Football. Well, I guess we wouldn't know the schedule a year ago, but right as the season started, he's like, all right, so I need X number of touchdowns. So I'm going to get this in the first 6 weeks. Week 7, Sunday Night Football, San Francisco, national stage. Since Sunday Night Football is the most watched primetime television show in America. And then he'd be like, oh, I broke this. Oh, and now we have a contrived little touchdown dance. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, he could have just stopped at that, but, he did go on, and I think he had, two more touchdowns after that? What was it?
He was at 506 okay. Coming in.
Let's see.
Yeah, so Thomas was the third one. Then he followed on one more.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so, I mean, he still wants to win games, though. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, he just doesn't want to. I think his goal and his mindset should be to annihilate Brett Favre's record, so no one else can get it. Because I saw a Sports Nation poll on ESPN asking, do you think anyone else will ever be able to break Peyton Manning's record?
I think they definitely will, because someone will be able to have the longevity that Peyton's had, and with the new rules, all favoring the offense, all favoring the passing game, someone will definitely break it. Now, I don't think anyone currently in the NFL will get there unless, I don't know, maybe if Matt Stafford and Megatron, if Megatron can actually be healthy, like if he goes over to Germany and gets a little bit of stem cell stuff like Kobe did, and maybe because Matt Stafford is a stat compiler, but he needs Megatron.
I enjoyed after Manning got it, they showed camera shots of Colin Kaepernick, and he had like this grin on his face. I couldn't tell if he was sincerely like, "Oh, I'm happy for him," or if Kaepernick's like, "Ooh, that son of a,"
Well, Kaepernick. Peyton doesn't have to worry about Kaepernick breaking his record because Harbaugh won't let Kaepernick sling it. I don't know why. Maybe that's just fantasy football frustration coming over again.
Huh. I don't know.
Everything leads back to fantasy football.
It's all about fantasy. And Vegas.
Yep. And speaking of fantasy and what no one saw coming, how about them Cowboys?
Oh, my God.
Nick? 6-1 record after a solid 31-21 win at home against the Giants, and who knew?
It's something where I knew the America's team, and I know you guys can't see me quoting with my fingers because it's a podcast, but America's team. Do you think they're finally playing like America's team now? Did Tony Romo finally is he getting good confidence to not make as many mistakes as he usually does? I don't know.
See, the thing is, I think they still are America's team because they don't even have to be good to get headlines. You know what I mean? They haven't won a playoff game in 20 some odd plus years, and they're still the number one story on ESPN, win, lose, or draw, just because they're talking about, oh, it's Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones and Tony Romo. They're like the Yankees, where everyone has an opinion of them, either they love them or they hate them, and no one has ever like. The Cowboys, they're all right. No, it's either I love the Cowboys or I fucking hate the Cowboys. See
yeah, that? I actually don't mind the Cowboys at all. I like them a lot. I have nothing against them at all.
Nick, as a Vikings fan, how dare you like the Cowboys? And Drew Pearson, Roger Staubach, the first Hail Mary, or as we call it up here, the push-off.
Oh, yeah.
And the Herschel
It's
Walker
all about
trade.
the cheerleaders, man. It's about the cheerleaders. It's about the love.
Now, everyone's got cheerleaders now.
Yeah, but there's something about Dallas cheerleaders, though. There's something more.
And it's all contrived. It's like, oh, our original stadium had a hole in the roof so God can look down upon his team. No, you just ran out of money when you were building the roof. Boo. But DeMarco Murray has more rushing yards with 913 than 28 NFL teams, which is redonkulous. And he breaks the NFL record with his 7th straight 100-yard rushing game to start a season. Jim Brown previously held the record with 6. Tony Romo, not playing bad Tony Romo. I think Romo's looking good because they're actually running the ball and they're not putting everything on his plate. And Romo will make mistakes once he has too much pressure on him. And that defense, that no-name defense that lost Sean Lee, Scandrick for a while, everyone thought was going to be garbage, is actually looking pretty damn okay.
Oh yeah, no, it's a whole team effort. I believe. I mean, I think that's how to be a good football team. You gotta have everyone playing really well, or at least not having a weak spot, unlike the Vikings, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, and who knew that offensive line was the way to go, as the Cowboys have spent their last 3 number 1 picks on offensive linemen, not taking Johnny Manziel this year, taking Zach Martin, offensive lineman out of Notre Dame, who is a complete beast and a freak. So who knew that if you put a very good running back and a decent veteran quarterback behind a solid offensive line, that good things can happen on offense? I don't know. Apparently the Vikings forgot about the offense.
If you could rank every team's offensive line, is Dallas, do you think, a top in the NFL, a top 5 offensive line?
I would have to think about it, but yeah, they're definitely top 5. I wouldn't put it past me to put them number 1 either, because of just the results that we've seen so far with Murray. Tony Romo staying upright, which is very good because he has that back thing. And yeah, I think they're just a very solid, cohesive unit. Tyron Smith's been a little dinged. Doug Free is missing some time, and they're the 2 bookend tackles. But other than that, they're looking pretty
Who's their offensive coach?
Well, Jason Garrett got the play calling duties taken away from him. I think it's Scott Linehan. We all remember Scott Linehan.
Oh yes. But for those who don't, why don't you refresh on us?
Well, Scott Linehan was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings for a couple of seasons, and yeah, that's about it. Good times. Then he got the St. Louis Rams job, and he got fired from that. Then he was offensive coordinator for the Lions for a while, and now he's just looked it up. He's the offensive coordinator and passing game coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys.
Neat.
I'm guessing Bill Callahan coordinates the running game, but that's just a guess off the top of my head. And we alluded to a little bit about our complaints about the Vikings already, so we may as well touch that to close up segment 1.
Do we have to?
Nick, the pain of the 2-5, even though we're still quasi alive, 17-16, heartbreaking loss in Buffalo as something called Kyle Orton completes it to something called Scott Chandler on the 4th and 20 right in front of Greenway.
I really don't want to do this segment. And from the beginning of the year, we always said, we had our low thoughts, like, we were going to be very optimistic, like, if we can win at least half of games, we'd be fine. We knew this first stretch of games were going to be hard. We'd be lucky to be where we are, but I think what caused it was that game 1, seeing us just run town on the Rams and then us beating the Falcons was just it gave us so much. We were like, psh, we had a big head, I think, and like just seeing us perform now it's heart-wrenching. There's no words to describe it.
Well, I think there are some silver linings to take out because that defense is starting to really get together.
Yep.
And that defense is the reason that the last 2 games weren't 48-3. And Teddy has had some flashes, but he has looked like a rookie quarterback, and he's definitely not time to write him off as bust water yet, as some of Twitters want to do. Cordero still isn't healthy. I think Jerick McKinnon needs to get the rock more because the kid is going to be a special talent in this league. And that's not just because I have him in a fantasy keeper league that we keep referring to. And everything starts up front with that offensive line. Khalil's taking a step back. Charlie Johnson is what he is. Lode Holtz even regressed a little bit. Sully's injured now with a concussion. He might be out for a while. And, yeah, I think losing Fusco was huge.
I mean, people are going to look for people to blame, and right now they're attacking the offensive line. when do you start attack? When do